have a look at it. We're in the key of A, and we're using the A blues scale as a foundation. And so you could take the open A string here. Let me just get that distortion off, and then play the whole A blues scale on one string up to the A right here. And then you could put a power chord, which is just the root note and the fifth and the root again, where I'm just putting a bar across these two strings and fretting this one. You probably know this. And then I can put a power chord on each one, and I can start creating riffs. The first thing I do is I play that C power chord, which is C, G, and C here, so the 3rd fret, and on the A string, yes, 3rd fret, and then 5th on the D and G, and putting a bar across there. I don't know if do I have clean nails? I've just been renovating this room. I don't, so hope you can live with that. But so first the C, and then I go down to the A, and of course I have the open A string, so I just put a bar across the D and G string in the 2nd fret, and I only hit the A, the D, and the G string. So only those 3 notes, and then we go. And right there I'm muting actually, because I have an open chord here, because the A string is open. And if I have a chord like this, I can just mute it by lifting my fingers. I'm just lifting my fingers slightly in this hand, so I get no sound. But when you have an open chord, you have to do something else. You have to put your fingers, sorry, I'm just blowing in the microphone here. You have to put your fingers across to either the 4th or the 3rd finger, so you go. So that stroke there is actually muted. That's a downstroke. You can look at the tabs. And then I open it again with an upstroke. So that muting technique there is very important when you're dealing with these open chords. So that little X there in the notes is that muted stroke. And here it's part of the riff, because it's not just, that's another thing. If I play with the muted strokes, it sounds differently than those sounds actually mean something. It keeps it going when there's no notes. So that's the first part. And then it says 2 upstrokes there. See if we can get that right. And we play that very slowly. And remember, even though I'm strumming, I'm only hitting those 3 strings here, and I do that by using a circular movement that goes like that, because it has, it removes itself from the guitar and goes in. If this is the guitar neck, then you can see it hits like that and then goes out again. And by using this kind of movement, I can then target just 3 strings by going, wiggling my wrist like this, to get a circular movement instead of this movement, which is, just all the strings. I do this instead, which enables me to just have that circle, just dig into those strings. So that's the first thing. And then it continues there, because we have a little break. So we have 1, 2, 3 on the low A string, and that's really the sound of rock, is that muted low string. So that's what you want to learn. And you might want to focus on just this, and then see if you can circle it. course I'm muting the A string with my palm here, just putting a little bit of flesh on it with my right hand. So if you can get that down, then you're pretty far already, because what happens there is that we're a bit early here, because it goes. It only says da da da, only 3 strokes on that low A string, and then we go on to. And that's another little technique that you can use in other places as well. What I do is I use the old power chord again, but I'm building it on that blue note of the blues scale. So I'm building it from the 6th fret here. I have my first finger on the A string in the 6th fret. Then I have my 3rd finger across the D and G string in the 6th fret. So I hit that and slide it down, the whole chord. Slide it down 1 fret, and I just hit that with a. Isn't that it? I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a downstroke. So I go, but after I've slid down from the 6th to the 5th fret, I lift my first finger and hit the open A string. So what I really want to have is this sound, but I'm cheating a bit because I don't want to go like that. I can't play it fast enough, it's too far. And so what I do instead is I say, I just hit the open A string, so I go. And because the strings are muted a little bit by my palm, they don't ring out, so I can go. And that's what I play up there. So have that slowly, just fast with the other stuff. So we go. And you can loop those 2 elements as well. So let me play those slowly for you. So I go. And there's a short, 2 strokes on the A string before we return to the main riff again. So I go. Let me just play that. So what you play up here is 2 strokes on the A string in the end, which brings you further. And then you go right back to the main riff again. Slowly, again, super slow. Now we can even speed it up, see how far we can go. No, we can't. It can't be played any faster than that. I just thought I had some speed metal potential here, but I haven't. Or maybe it's me who can't play it any faster. But so that's the first part, and then we move on to a little cool thing here, because the second time we get to, because we could just circle this all day, just over and over again. But we have that main thing there, that main riff, which is just that we keep returning to that all the time. Then we go in and put this in between. But then the second time we get to, we play something else, which is a very common way of building a riff. Which is and that is just And you start with 2 strokes on the A string, so you're coming from... No, sorry. So only 2 strokes on the A string just after you went... Di da 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 do do. That's it. And those chords are, so 2 strokes on the A string. What we're doing here is we're playing a 3-note chord. We're playing a triad, and in this case, it's actually the D major triad. That's something we're going to talk just a little bit more about in another video. But you can see it here. We got the 4th finger in the 5th fret on the A string, then the 4th fret on the D string with your 3rd finger, and then your 1st finger in the 2nd fret on the G string. So that's the first chord. Then we have 2 strokes on the open A string again. And then we have another chord. And this is the G that I was talking about. And it looks like this. We have the root note there, the 3rd of the G, because... So we have... actually, this is a little special because instead of having no 3rd, which is, you know, what we have in a power chord, we have no 5th. So we have the root and we have the 3rd. And it's the 3rd of G. G is right there, so the 3rd of G is played in 2 octaves, and then I play the root note with my 4th finger. So it's 2nd fret on the A string, 1st finger, then 4th finger in the 5th fret on the D string, and then we have that 3rd finger in the 4th fret on the G string. And you can look in the tabs to get those right. So, and this little shift here, it's actually, these 2 fingers do the same thing, but they do it on 2 sets of strings. So you go from having your 1st finger in the lowest place to the highest place while these move in the other direction. So it's manageable. But you might want to sit just, you know, in front of the TV for half an hour or 60 minutes and just go back and forth between these 2. So 2 strokes on that A string instead of the other 4 or 3 or what we did before. So then 2 strokes on the A string again, and then the G, and then 2 strokes again, and then you're right back into. Let's just play that with the main riff. And let's play the whole thing. What we have here is really the D, as I said, these 2 chords. But instead of playing D and then G, it will sound completely different. Like, then I like these better because they stay within the same. Also, a nice thing you can do is you can actually do vibrato because you have 1 finger per string here, so you can do a certain amount of vibrato when you play. Then the last time, because now we have an even more complex structure here. It's really simple. We have that basic riff, right? And then we had that, and then back to the basic riff, and then And then the second time we're supposed to get back to, you know, those 2 3-note chords there. The second time that those chords are up again, you've been playing this 2 times, and now it's the second time you're supposed to play that. You don't play it. You play a little open string tapping lick that I just created for this little lick here. And that's kind of a special little thing. As you can see in the tabs, it's a detail because the rhythm of it is completely screwed up. So I'll just show you the notes and then how I go about playing it. when you get to that point, you hit it sounds like this. Something like that. It's actually harder to play slow because it has kind of a rhythm to it. It goes. So it goes. It says da 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 da. And that's the melody that you have to produce up here with your first finger. So, but once we get up here, what I do is I feel my way to the other notes, and you have two options here. You can go for the fastest version, which is first let's just take the first part again before we get that far. We have the open D string. You hit that first with an upstroke or a downstroke, doesn't matter. And then you hammer on your first finger in the 5th fret, and then hammer on your 3rd finger in the 7th fret. So you go like that. That's the only thing you do on the D string. Then you do the exact same thing on the G string. So pick the D string, hammer on in the 5th, hammer on in the 7th with your 1st and 3rd finger, then do the same thing on the G string. Pick it, hammer on in the 5th, hammer on in the 7th, and then you tap in the 12th fret. And now I want this sound to appear. And I don't really care about these notes anymore. I'm not playing these in time. It's just a spasm. So, you practice it like this. Up and down, back and forth. Open string, hammer on in the 5th, hammer on in the 7th, tap in the 12th, pull off to the 7th, pull off to the 5th, and pull off to the open string. Hammer on in the 5th. Please note that it's two different movements for your fingers. This finger is doing the same thing all the time, but you hammer on and tap, and you pull off, and then you pull off. And pull off. And a pull off is something completely different from a tap, of course. But you really have to focus on pulling though, instead of just going, when you're not really doing anything. You're just, producing some kind of sound. And as I said, you have two options. You can go all the way up and then play a little melody in the 12th and the 11th fret. So you go. And now I'm only focused on these two notes because I wanted to go dee 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 do do dee 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 do da 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 da. And so I go dee 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 dee. That's what I'm playing, and I hope my fingers will follow this one, because if you practice the pattern enough and go same notes down here, 5th and 7th, and then I just alternate between the 12th and the 11th fret up here. If you practice this enough, it becomes kind of a movement that you do, and that's where you can begin to play melodies with this up here. So also the whole 6 notes up, it doesn't fit anywhere. So what you really have to go is you have to say da 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 draw a little da draw a little. So it's a technique of its own, really, and the basis of it is practicing this in time, and then speeding it up until it becomes really, really easy. And then when you begin it, you go, oh. Let me just play that with the jam track so you can hear how it sounds. Too many. in the end there, I just take it up. I just take two beats before we actually end the whole track. So we go, and then when we go, that's where we would end the song. But I just keep doing this, and the music follows. So I go, and then I go up and say, something like that. You can hear it in the end here where we. So it says. So I go da 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 da. Up the scale, we are in the 14th. So 14th, 12th, 11th, and then 12th again, and then 11th, and then so. See if you can duplicate that. 14th, 12th, 11th, 12th, 11th, and 9th, and then that's how we end it. Let's hear it again. See if we can do that before I lose all my battery. That's as close as I can get to it since it's completely out of time. But I just promised you, just finally before we go, instead of going all the way up and all the way down, you can also just go down and say, or just up. Oh, you can't really go up. I can't see how that's going to work, but it probably can. You can make it work, but let's just. So what you do is basically you position all your fingers on the notes at one time, and then you know, pull off, and then position all your fingers at somewhere. This has to come first, because otherwise you can hear these notes. So I go. And that's also a very useful thing to be able to do. So don't. So start practicing with the metronome, just time. And it's putting the fingers on the fretboard that might represent a challenge for you, because if I put this on first, so it looks like I'm putting my fingers on at exactly the same time, but it's actually a little different. It goes like that, so the top one first. And when I'm playing fast, it feels like all the fingers are hitting the fretboard at the same time. So that's the riff. Have fun with it, and then I'll see you in the next video.